Good afternoon. My name is Alicia Wimbush. I am the Program Director for Religious Leaders at the Institute for Islamic, Christian, and Jewish Studies. I would like to welcome you to our Lunch and Learn, where we are going to explore the role of art in our care for others and how art can be used to build bridges across different communities. Again, as you're coming in, I invite you to introduce yourself. You can put your name in the chat, the community you represent. And if you would like, since we are talking about art today, I would love to hear what art forms do you all use in your spiritual care work? And so as people are introducing themselves in the chat, for those who are new to ICJS, I just want to share a little bit about our organization. So ICJS is an independent educational nonprofit organization that models a new conversation in the public square that affirms religious diversity in the United States. Our mission is to dismantle religious bias and bigotry by building learning communities where religious difference becomes a powerful force for good. We believe chaplains and spiritual care providers are essential in this work of affirming religious diversity and building bridges across differences. And so that's a little bit about ICJS. And again, today, I am so pleased to have a wonderful speaker with us. She's going to talk about how she uses her art in her work as a chaplain and to address social issues and cultivates interfaith unity. And so I am pleased to welcome Sangeetha Kowsik. I want to share a little bit about her, and she'll share a little bit more about her journey when she does her presentation. But Sangeetha is a Hindu chaplain at New York University and the founder of both the NYU Hindu Center and the award-winning creative studio Ihsan Ishan Design. She is a graduate of Parsons School of Design with more than 2 decades of professional experience. She is one of the few Hindu Indian American women trained in Islamic Arabic calligraphy, blending traditions to foster interfaith unity. Formerly the first woman of color to lead product design at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, she continues to advocate for inclusive bridge building art. Sangeetha, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here with us. I'm so excited for our community to get to know you and the amazing work you are doing. So I'm going to turn it over to you. And I do want to add this, if you have questions as Sangeetha presents, feel free to put your questions in the chat and we'll have time for Q&A after her presentation. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Sangeetha.
Great. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me, Alicia. I really, really appreciate it. It's really lovely to meet all of you. I can't see anyone's photo, but I hope to see everyone's photo afterwards. So also, I'm one of the founders for the Hindu Chaplain Association, also of North America. Hindu chaplaincy is an extremely rare profession in the United States, actually, and in the world, because the word chaplain comes from Abrahamic faiths more than it does from Dharmic faiths. Dharmic, I mean Hindu, Jain, Buddhism, Sikhism. Even Sikhs have chaplaincy now too. So it's an emerging field, and I am trained as an artist and designer. I went to design school, so I thought I would start by giving you a presentation of my background, and then about what actual Hinduism, the faith is, and then my interfaith work, my Arabic calligraphy interfaith work, and my Black Lives Matter work, and all this other stuff. So let me begin. So my interfaith work, it started actually, so I graduated from Parsons. My first job out of college was working for J-Lo. Jennifer Lopez was my very first boss, right? Superstar J-Lo. She's an amazing woman. And I worked in beauty, fashion, luxury, Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren, you name it, Tiffany and Company, you name it, I've worked for them. But I noticed a lack of diversity there. In any of the spaces that I've ever worked in, I've always been the only person of color there and only Hindu person in all of these spaces, especially in creative. If there were any Hindus or if there were any people of color, it would be in IT, which is not my field, is creative. So, oopsie, excuse me. So then I became the first woman of color to lead a design team in the Metropolitan Museum's 150-year history. And so working there, it really opened up my eyes to all sorts of different cultures, all different faiths. But I also noticed the lack of diversity within museum spaces as well too. Have you ever walked into a museum and you look at a Da Vinci painting? I love Da Vinci. You look into a Da Vinci painting or you look into any European art, you know the spiritual significance immediately, who Mother Mary is, who Lord Jesus is, down to not just the subject matter, but even down to the brush strokes that the painter used. Yet when you walk into Asian art, for example, or Hindu art, or all you get is very flat, superficial descriptions. Chola bronze, 6th century Ganesha. Well, who is Ganesha? Who is Shiva? Who is Nataraja? Who is Parvati? There are so many more uh, deep spiritual significance behind why a murti looks the way it does. And the correct term is murti, not a statue, not an idol. We're not idol worshippers. It's murti is a living entity, basically, essentially. So then also I became the Hindu chaplain for NYU and founded the NYU Hindu Center to essentially teach folks about what Hinduism is and bring together diverse communities and cultures. And so I launched my art exhibition. So I have a degree in how did I become an Arabic calligrapher? Okay, first of all, the Met reopened its Islamic galleries, and they were calling it Art of the Arab Lands, Art of the Arab Lands. Again, I said no. South Asians are not Arabs. Pakistanis, Nepali, Bangladeshi, Sri Lankans, we're not Arabs. We can be Muslim, but we're not Arabs. You can call it Islamic art, not art of the Arab lands. And because it's so the one form of Islamic art that ties the entire world together is Arabic calligraphy. Because Arabic calligraphy is found any place you find a Muslim person. It's used to write the Holy Quran, it's used to decorate these beautiful mosques. So I told them this, and they said, yeah, go learn that. I'm like, really? Me, a big fat Hindu who where do I find Arabic calligraphy? So that's why I went to NYU, and my language professor is Egyptian. And I told him, I said, look, uncle, I really need to learn to draw the language more than speak it. And he's like, okay. He's like, Habibi, I'm an old man. Please don't give me a heart attack. I'll go find you an ustad. So he found me Majid Saif, who is a Palestinian master calligrapher. They both used to work at the UN together. So I have a degree in Arabic calligraphy underneath him. So when I became the chaplain at NYU, Imam Khalid Latif and I became very close friends. Imam Khalid was the one who founded the Islamic Center of NYU. Now he's moved, we still remain very close friends. He's moved to another mosque, and now Sheikh Fayaz, I'm also good friends with him as well too. And I noticed this kind of, and Khalid is Pakistani American, I'm Indian American. And so we share heritage and culture and food and upbringing. Yet why is there so much tension and animosity between Hindus and Muslims? It's something I've never understood because I wasn't raised like that. I'll show you that how I was raised. So anyway, to make a difference for Hindus and Muslims to bring us together, I started this initiative, Ihsan Ishan Design, in 2019 alongside my art exhibition, Allah Swami, which is up by the mosque at NYU, continues to hang there. So I'm sorry, my everything seems to have a mind of its own today. My present. Okay, here you go. Okay, so I started this exhibition. It hangs by the mosque at NYU, and I started drawing Hindu deities in Arabic calligraphy. So all of these things say Jai Shri Ganesha or Om Ganganapate Namaha, like Hindu prayers to show the interconnectedness, and each and every piece has a story and concept behind it to bring different cultures together. This is the Hindu Center. So I advocated for a space for all dharmic faiths to come together. So I have a tiny room, which was given to me by Imam Khalid, actually. He gave me this small room. And the Hindu temple in Flushing gave me all the different murtis. So that's me leading prayer. I was trained in, my father was a priest, so he taught me Hindu prayers as well too, and Hindu puja, which means ritualistic prayer. And so why do I celebrate Eid? It's and I because I've always celebrated Eid growing up. So and also I was awarded Chaplain of the Year by Chelsea Clinton for my interfaith initiatives. And I also my Black Lives Matter design won a bunch of different awards for philanthropy, which is and the Mosaic Philanthropy Award, but it's rooted in the principles of Hinduism, compassion, and also this idea of oneness, which expanded into the interconnectedness between the indigenous people of North America, and also branding for inter a queer interfaith intercultural wedding at an art museum in New Jersey. Yes, which was Yoruba, and Hindu, and Indian and African traditions. So, and also, I work with different museums in order to teach them the spiritual significance behind why the Nataraja, which is the deity on the right, looks the way it does. And I designed and developed this collection for the Asian Art Museum. So then, how I grew up, I am the daughter of a Hindu temple builder. My father built was involved in helping build 3 Hindu temples in the United States, including the very first one in Flushing Ganesha Temple in Flushing, Queens, and then Shiva Vishnu Temple in Livermore, California, where I was raised. My father landed in New York, then moved out west to California, married my mom in Berkeley, California, and helped build the Shiva Vishnu Temple in Livermore, California, where I was raised in this temple. And South Indian temples are extremely special because they're built according to Agama Shastras. Agama Shastras are these ancient scriptures that tell you exactly how to build a temple space, how to carve certain murtis, the detailing that goes into the particular prayers that sculptors and artists need to take in order to carve a temple or carve a murti or a deity. So the principle in Hinduism varies dramatically. It varies by culture, it varies by language, it varies by demographic, it varies by family, it varies by individual. So, but some of the core principles of Hinduism is Vasudeva Kudupagam, which means the entire world is one family, and Ekam Sat. All faiths lead to the same divine. We have no central text or no one historical founder. And we are the oldest living faith tradition in the world, yet it is quite misunderstood in the West. But and it originated in South Asia. And remember, before partition, before colonization, before any of these border lines were drawn between countries, it was one huge landmass and people were nomadic. And so everyone was exchanging different ideas and different ways of thoughts. And so there's 16 major kingdoms in the north and then 3 major kingdoms in the south. And so my family is from all the way down south where you see Chennai, Sri Lanka up there. So my mom's from Chennai and my father's from Bangalore, but we're Tamil speaking people. This is the temple that I was raised in. And so Shiva Vishnu, because Shiva and Vishnu are 2 of the major deities. Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma are the 3 major deities in Hinduism. But Brahma, nobody really prays to, and there's not a temple for him, unless there's one in Thailand and there's one in Las Vegas of all places. Go figure. But Shiva and Vishnu, because they decide to keep it as Shiva and Vishnu, because so that this temple is inclusive because you have Shiva and you have Vishnu. You have all of Shiva's family members, like Ganesh is his son. And Ganesh, I'm so sure many of you are familiar with him because he has an elephant head. He's the most recognizable Hindu deities. And also they have black deities, black murtis, which are South Indians, and then North Indian deities, which are made of marble. But the fun part about this is that if you see on the bottom right-hand corner, I'll show you, this is same. Kanaka Durga is the one with the blue on, right? And then the one in the left is from the Afghan Hindu temple in Long Island. She's made of marble because she's from the north. So it's like marble making was brought to India by Muslims. It came via Persia, it came through Central Asia as well too. So also you see the gopurams, which is the domes on top. Shiva architecture is from North India. Vishnu architecture is from South India to make this idea of inclusiveness at this temple. So there's me and my sister and my mom when the temple was being built, right? And so on the right-hand side, on the bottom right-hand corner, you see a shilpi are sculptors who come from India to carve these temples. And they take special fasts, they do special prayers in order to construct to construct anything that you see within the temple space. And so the fun thing about the Shiva Vishnu temple is that a Muslim musician did the groundbreaking ceremony at this temple. Ustad Ali Akbar Khan, who put the instrument sarod on the map. And so I'm very close friends with the last two sons. That's us on the bottom, Manik and Alam Khan. And I also designed the whole family's logos here as well. On the right hand side, you can see all three of their logos. But see, music is extremely important in Hinduism as well too. So Ali Akbar Khan is Muslim, and Ravi Shankar is Hindu. They both did the groundbreaking, they're brother-in-laws. They both did the groundbreaking ceremony, but none of us remember. We were all babies when this happened. So me, Manik, and Alam do not remember any of this when it happened because this was back in the day. But this idea of all faiths lead to the same divine, they did this so many years ago. And so South India, we're also extremely heavy, it's really hot down south, the southern states. So agriculturally, we're extremely rich. And so this extensive puja or ritualistic prayer started down south because we offer gratitude to the divine. So that's why we have heavy ornamentation, I'm a garland maker also. So those are all my temple friends, my temple homies on the left-hand side. Those ladies, we make flower garlands, fruit garlands, vegetable garlands in order to give gratitude and thanks to the divine. But this is not a practice. You don't see this kind of elaborate decorations, vegetation and flowers and rituals up north because it's quite cold up north. That much stuff doesn't grow up there. Vegetation doesn't grow up there. Here, this is another, and see, we're very extremely ritualistic heavy because all these rituals are to express our love for the divine, express our gratitude to the divine. So this is really cool. This priest is very artistic. He drew this goddess Andal, right? Andal right now, it's Margari Masam, which it's a very holy month for us. He drew he made this goddess out of earth, basically, right? Out of potting soil. It's potting soil, right? And then he drew with rice flour, and then he put seeds inside this too. So then it's going to bloom into different flowers. So come January, when the fast ends, he's going to offer all these flowers in gratitude to the divine. So it's pretty amazing. So, and so here's oopsie. We have these different rituals to show like and different rituals to show happiness and joy, different festival. This is what God and goddess getting married. And they do these because our traditions down south are ancient. Dravidian traditions, and a lot of it was orally transmitted. So it's like these have been going on for thousands and thousands of years, which is pretty amazing. So this is the Hindu temple in Flushing, Queens, the very first Hindu temple built in the United States according to those scriptures. And outside, you see this idea of interconnectedness. They have the flame of truth right there, and then all major faith traditions of the world all around it. So you have Om for Hindu, you have the Buddhist chakra, you have the Christian cross, you have the Jewish Star of David, and then you have the sun, you have the moon and the star for Islam, saying that we are all equal and everyone is welcome here at this temple. So, and they keep Lord Ganesha as the main deity there because Ganesh is the remover of all obstacles. And no matter what kind of, what denomination of Hinduism that you adhere to, he's always the first one you offer a prayer to. So they made him the main deity here. So I'm sure you've seen many YouTube videos because they have a very famous canteen with South Indian vegetarian food. All the hipsters go and eat there, and like Anthony Bourdain went and ate there, and things like that. So that's my dad, me and my dad down there, and so this is the Flushing Temple, and see you see these elaborate decorations that they do, especially during festival days. They bring out so many flowers, so many different ways to decorate this murti that it's also just awe-inspiring. When you go in there, your jaw drops to see when the curtains open and you see this kind of beautiful fashion. I mean, maybe this is why I went to go study fashion because I've been watching this my entire life. So But also a core principle of Hinduism that it belongs to everyone. It's not it might have originated in South Asia, but it's not Indian. It belongs to everyone. As you can see here, a mixture of my friends who have come to the temple and who I have a Muslim the yellow one in the yellow picture, that's my Muslim friend, and two Muslim friends who came. And then down there we have my ex-skinhead friend and his Korean wife, right? So they adhere to Hinduism, and so it belongs to everyone. And the thing is, there's no rules and regulations. Some people like to come to eat. Some people like to watch the ritual. Some people like to sit through an hour puja. Some people like to meditate and leave. Some people like to practice yoga. There's nothing wrong. Hindu practice varies so much. And so these temple musicians, they're very special. They come all the way from India from September to November. They play the Hindu high holiday season, and the instruments they play, that's the nadaswaram and that's the tabal, which are tabal is the drum, nadaswaram is the horn, the man in the pink who has it. These are ancient temple instruments that are used to awaken the gods and in ritualistic prayer. I have a video which I will show you guys as well too. They're very loud. The reason these instruments are so loud is the spiritual significance is to drown out the negative noise and the negative thoughts that you have when you enter a sacred place of worship. The lady in the red sari over there to the left-hand side, that's Dr. Uma Maisarekar Umarti, who is the president of the temple for nearly 50 years. This temple is the cleanest, most efficient temple on this planet. It's all because of her. You could lick off the floor, it's that clean. So, and she also during COVID, she shut everything down and put everything on live stream now too. So you can tune into their YouTube or Facebook and watch a lot of these prayer rituals online. And that's Ravi Uncle down there, who's the manager of the temple, the nicest people. But also, this temple does a lot of interfaith work, and also it's important to know how much they adhere to the principle of Hinduism. So this temple, when it was built, they bought the land from a Russian Orthodox church. So there was a church, nobody was coming there, so the land. But Indians back then, they didn't have visas. So the Jewish community had to step in and they signed the lease, right? Then all the security guards here are all from the African Muslim community. All the guards you see, but always ask for Mustafa to take pictures. The young guy, he knows how to take the good pictures, okay? But they take care of security. Maintenance is taken care of by the Latin American community. If you do not move out of George's way, he will vacuum your toes off, I'll tell you, after every puja. But see, they adhere to that principle of Ekam Sat, equality, that everyone is equal and welcome in this temple space. And so see, this is Lord Vishnu here, and thank God for live stream, because then I can show you videos. You usually can't video inside of a temple. So. So here you can hear the ritual here, when they take on procession. These are Guruna and Lakshmi, the two. Here. Yep. So also you can see they take the deities out in procession and then they dance like this as well too. So these rituals, everything is to express love and gratitude to the divine, essentially. And so Flushing Temple they live stream everything, and I strongly urge everyone to watch their live stream in order to understand more about the rituals. So that's me. at the Hindu Center and all my students, some of my students. And I also do a lot of interfaith pujas also for different couples. Because I believe music is very important. That's that's NYU, and that's Imam Khalid, and that's by the mosque at NYU, which still hangs there. And these are all the different, and I also lecture a lot at Columbia University as well too. And you saw this. And so here, there's also another place called Broome Street, which is in downtown Manhattan, which is run by Eddie Stern, right? But this is not a temple built according to the Agama Shastras, according to our scriptures. This is more because they do yoga in the same space as well too, but they have like different priests that come and they lead prayers for lead prayers for the community, a small place, but it's not you don't get the whole shebang like going to Flushing Temple. So and then this is what a North Indian style temple looks like. This is, I'm sure you've heard of BAPS, the largest Hindu temple that they say, which is in New Jersey, but they follow BAPS. BAPS is Swaminarayan Temple, and their guru, they follow the teachings of their teacher right here, the statue in the gold right here. So, and then I'm sure you've seen Hare Krishna as well too, if you're familiar with that traditions. They also follow a guru right here, who's Prabhupada, who's sitting up here. So BAPS Temple, Hare Krishna, all follow the teachings of a certain person. Traditional Hinduism, temple worship, we don't follow a central person. We just follow God in general. So that's the difference. And then I have one more thing. I'd like to just show you my Arabic and Hindu calligraphy. So essentially, because I never grew up with this kind of animosity between Hindus and Muslims, it's like, this is why I started this and I put up my exhibition, Allah Swami, in order to also highlight the shared traditions between Hindus and Muslims, especially when it comes to music. So the shirt that I'm wearing, right, this finger design, this Nadaswaram design, and this tabla design up here, right? Tabla is the drum. They all say Subhanallah on it because it means God is perfect in Arabic. Why? The tabla, that's the drum up here. When it's made in India, the black part is put in by Hindus. The outer part, leather, is worked on by Muslims because Hindus don't work with leather. And plus, this is a shared genre. This instrument is a shared instrument across all music genres, not just Indian classical music. It's used in drum and bass and jungle and rock and roll and all different types of music. The finger here is the Qawwali finger, because both Hindu bhajan singers, Qawwali Muslim singers, they all stick their finger up in the air when they sing. So from heaven to your heart, God is there, one God everywhere. So that's why Subhanallah, God is perfect. Nadaswaram and Tabal, this is a very interesting story because those two instruments that I showed you, played by my friends Guruna and Lakshmanana from the temple, these are ancient temple instruments, but one of the largest temple complexes in the world, Srirangam, dedicated to Lord Vishnu, which is down south in South India and Tamil Nadu, that temple complex, he has a Muslim devotee there. And so her name is Tulka Nachiyar. Tulka Nachiyar was a princess in the 13th century who was an ardent devotee of Lord Vishnu. And so there is a sanctum for her dedicated to her. And also that in that temple, when they worship Vishnu, they dress him not in South Indian clothing or give him South Indian food. They give him North Indian food and North Indian outfits from the Muslim culture to honor her love and devotion for him. So that's why Subhana. And for 300 years, a family of Muslims have been playing that instrument for Lord Vishnu. Not a Hindu, but a Muslim family has been playing these two instruments. And also another fun fact. Before Guru Anna, the horn player, Nadaswaram at Flushing Temple, it was Qasim, a Muslim guy, had come from India to play. He played for nearly 10 years and then he got too old. So Guru Anna took over. We don't have that animosity. We have that interconnect. Down south, all are equal, all are allowed to play, especially when it comes to music traditions. So this is So that's why I was telling you, Subhanallah, God is perfect. This instrument, Lord Vishnu. This is Afghanistan and Tamil Nadu, the interconnectedness between that. If you go on my website, you can read the stories more in detail. But essentially, it's to teach through my artwork. Like, we're not idol worshippers. Purlayar means whose son is he in Tamil, and because it means God belongs to all. Whose son Purlayar? Whose son is he? Because everyone fought over Ganesh when he was born, but he belongs to the entire world, right? Diwali Mubarak, because a lot of Muslims in Gujarat state especially say Diwali Mubarak or Happy Diwali, and this is drawn in the shape of a kutuvalka, which is a South Indian temple, South Indian style of a lamp. And this is Ramadan Mubarak. Let's eat, but please don't fast, right? So this one, because it says Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem, wishing everyone happy Ramadan. Mango for my South Asians, pomegranate for my Persian friends, a bean, a fool for my Arab friends, and a banana for everyone, because who doesn't love a banana? So that's why the different foods for this, right? And so Eid Mubarak, this is the gift. Eid, this is designed like a gift box, because Eid is the gift you receive after a month-long fast in Ramadan. The Islamic moon is on top, and my gift to you. So it's like, this is Ramadan, Eid Mubarak. This is fun. This is oh my God, this is an Urdu calligraphy. I wanted to surprise Imam Khalid for his birthday. And so Khalid, he's American like me, born and raised here. And so it's like, and I wanted to do it in Urdu because he's Pakistani. And so he's like, "Oh, I'll teach you Urdu. I'll teach you." I'm like, "Bro, I don't trust your Urdu. Just like I don't trust my Tamil. You were born in Jersey. I was born in California." I'm like, "No, maybe your dad or mom, but not you, right?" And so actually, the head of the Urdu department, she taught Khalid when he was a student at NYU. So she helped me with this. So basically, it's in Urdu with Imam Khalid's last prayer. He always says at the end of every sermon that he gives, "Protect us from hearts that aren't humble, tongues that are not wise, eyes that have forgotten how to cry. Amin." And the story, why is it in emojis? Because if I text Khalid formally or whatnot, he'll never answer me. And he always formally introduces me to his colleagues as the Hindu chaplain, blah, blah. But between us, we're not very formal. So if I text him formally, he will never respond to me. If I text him a full on in emojis with the dancing bear emoji, within 2 seconds, I get a response from Khalid. So that's to celebrate our friendship. So, and this one's for Sheikh Fayaz. So Fayaz is Gujarati American. So these two ships are to show the interconnectedness between Gujarat sailing from Africa over here. So that's what these two Gujarati ships are, from the 13th century, from a museum piece. And also this has the hadith of Imam Ali. He gave me this quote because he's Shia. So this is a Shia artwork. And so, yeah, I made Khalid model all my apparel also that I designed. He gave this to his wife. It says Inshallah in graffiti style. And so, yeah, and also Ustad Zakir Hussain, I grew up with him. He's a tabla maestro. He loved that tabla design very much, especially was very proud of me for my interfaith work, and proud of me that this hangs by the mosque, and that that brought Hindus and Muslims together. But unfortunately, he passed last December. So I miss him very much, and he was a great person, a great inspiration. So yeah. And so these are more of my artworks, which, yeah. And so a lot of different people cut. And Amina Darwish is the Muslim chaplain of Columbia. Now she's at Stanford. So I do a lot of work with female empowerment. Also we did this was fun up here. We did a whole dialogue on female menstrual cycles in Judaism and in Islam and Hinduism. So it was all a bunch of PMSing girls and 3 Muslim boys who came for the free pizza. It was awesome. So it was wonderful. They're wonderful people. So but yeah, so this is and I celebrate Eid. I celebrate 4 Eids, 2 Shia, 2 Sunni every year with them because they're all my close friends. And yeah, this is how there's lots of selfies of me, Khalid, Bayaz, and that's my dad. And that's my dad in the blue shirt, and that's and my 2 uncles. So two Hindu uncles and my Muslim uncle over here. And so it's a, this it's the ultimate bromance and friendship. This is what I saw, this is what I grew up with. And so yeah, so this is my presentation. So I know I talked a lot. Thank you guys so much for taking time to listen to me. So
Sangeetha, thank you so much. I feel like I've been so stimulated by all the beautiful artwork and the garlands and just the beauty of Hinduism. Like I learned so much. I took so many notes. Somebody said, "Is this going to be recorded?" Because I want to go back because you just shared so much. And one again, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. But I have some questions for you, Sangeetha. One thing that I was really drawn by is how you were lifting up the values and principles within Hinduism of equality, of interdependence, of interconnectedness. I feel like these are values that we've gotten away from in our society. And I would love to hear from you at NYU. How are you all cultivating that on the campus between the different religious groups or people who don't necessarily have a religious affiliation? How are you actually cultivating these values that have grounded you?
well, we have global spiritual life, right? There's a huge the GSL building, which is right by Tompkins Square Park. And excuse me, and they've done a great job of having different events to bring different faiths together. So they have like meditation, tea, like my friend Robert, who's associate director, he's wonderful, like tea blending, like everyone come and make their own teas or come and eat donuts and hang out, or like halal and vegan, of course, right? And kosher donuts, right? But they make an effort to have different events to bring students together, to bring people of different backgrounds together. So for that, I really appreciate and value the work that they're doing. But also they have like different yoga classes, different meditation classes, different lunches and dinners for the students of different faiths and backgrounds to come together. So like my Hindu center, I have everyone knows that me, Khalid, and Fayaz are very close friends. So a lot of the Muslim students, they enjoyed sticking hot glue gunning hot hot glue gunning the fake flowers on the mandap within the temple space, which is fine. Arts and crafts always bring people together, so yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is so beautiful. And
Mm-hmm.
speaking of arts and crafts,
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about how you talked about how music connects us a lot
Mm-hmm.
of times.
Yes.
And so wanted to hear more about your the Black Lives Matter movement campaign that you
Mm-hmm.
did. And did you infuse any music in any of that? Or
So the Black Lives Matter piece, actually, it's in the Hip Hop Museum, which is slated to open in the Bronx in 2026. So it's like I can't wait for that. So it's like I really hope to give a lecture on that, and like they honored Fat Joe, but he's not fat anymore, so because he lost a lot of weight. So but that, yes, and that was quite an honor when the Hip Hop Museum asked me about this design, and I said yes, it's rooted in Hindu philosophy, because a lot of people also, Alicia, they don't know what any of these faith symbols are. They might recognize the Christian cross and the Star of David, and maybe the moon and the star in Islam, but everything else, no one, if you ask them what a dharma wheel is, they have no clue, right? So it's important to educate through design as well too. So but I would love to incorporate music with that, especially in the hip hop
yeah,
museum would be wonderful. So,
that would be wonderful. And I was thinking about just, particularly in the African American tradition, music
mhm,
is very
mhm,
important. And so I'm thinking about the beautiful artwork that you did and then infusing that, whether it's with hip hop, gospel, R&B, I think that
mhm.
would be absolutely powerful. Oh my goodness, I love that.
Thank
Uh,
you. That's a wonderful, yes, I will run that by them as well too. And I have wonderful jazz musician friends who are Muslim jazz from the African American community who are Muslims, jazz musicians. So
yeah.
I could ask Lafuki about this as well too. So, mhm.
Oh, that is wonderful. I love that. I would love to hear from you. You talked about how a lot of the work that you did came out of this question of why the tension, where is the tension between the Muslim community and the Hindu community? Because that wasn't your personal experience. And
Mm-hmm.
so I thought that was interesting that you're like, I want to address that the tension or the lack of tension that you experience with my artwork doing that education. I thought it was so powerful that when you did your own research, you were saying, well, wait a minute, there was Muslim music players within the temple. There was a adherent, a Muslim adherent that would come to the temple. So I love how you talked about when you did a little bit more digging, you saw that there were these connections. And so I would love to hear from you. How are you bringing that information to both the Hindu and Muslim communities? Like, no, there have been these interfaith relationships. How can we really begin to build upon that? How are you bringing that education to people?
So a lot through my art, and then and a lot through programming as well too. Because see, the thing is, Hindus and Muslims have been making beautiful music together for thousands of years, and people just tend to forget this, right? They tend to think like Zakir Hussain, like let's take Zakir Ji for example, right? The greatest tabla player the world has ever known, right? He is Muslim, but he host these giant pujas to goddess Saraswati every year. Saraswati is the goddess of music, knowledge, and fine arts. And people tend to forget that, right? And it's like they focus on divisiveness, especially up north. And north, I understand. People suffered partition. That trauma, that generational trauma is carried through generations, which needs to be healed as well too. Like, Khalid, the very first, I'll use Khalid as an example because he's my homie. He's like my girlfriend, basically, right? So it's like, honestly, Khalid was the very first person who he when the first day I met him, he was walking with the Kareem, how old is he now? He's 11 now. His son is going to be 11 next year. He was like 2, right? And he was walking with him and he said to me, "What's up?" Right? I'm like, "Don't you mean salam alaikum?" I'm like, "You're the celebrity imam." I'm like, "You look like an Elmo doll." That's the first thing that came to my mind. And he's like, "Oh my God," right? And so then he asked me, he's like, "Do you want to have coffee and get to know me?" I said, "Sure, of course." And get to know each other. I was like, "Yeah, sure." So first question I asked him, I was like, Khalid, what's a chaplain?" Right.
Mm.
So and so Khalid's like, "Oh, it's like spiritual giving in your faith traditions. Like, teach about Hinduism." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can talk about Hinduism till the cows come home." No pun indeed, right? And he started laughing. And then he was like, "Wait," he's like, "You're not afraid of me?" I'm like, "Why would I be afraid of you?" I'm like, "You look like an Elmo doll, right? You're half my body size," right? And he started laughing, right? And he was just like, he's like, "Because I'm Muslim." I'm like, "So?" Right? I was like, and he's like, "Well, because the person who was there before me, Alicia, okay, some Hare Krishna monk, refused to eat with Khalid because he's Muslim." And I was shocked by that. That is the horrifying to me, right? So it's like I had a giant bag of Doritos. Don't ask. I had Doritos in my bag. So I whipped that out and I said, "Here, do you want to eat this?" I'm like, "I think it's halal, but I don't think we should eat this because it's gonna go straight to our butts, just to let you know, right?" And he started laughing. And since then I've eaten thousands of meals with him, right? But it's horrifying for me to hear this man has been nothing but kind to me, helping me to navigate this, and yet someone's not going to eat with him because he's Muslim. It's the most disgusting, absurd things that I've heard in my life. And it's like, and you constantly now with social media and with so much false information that's all over the internet, especially with Hinduism, they keep people like to harp on the caste system. Caste system, that's cultural. It has nothing to do with faith or nothing to do with religion. And also partition, like I mentioned, the generational trauma. So to fight this nonsense, my artwork is showcasing positive interconnected stories in order to educate, in order to bring communities together. So it started with Hindus and Muslims, then it went to Black Lives Matter, then it went to the indigenous people of North Africa, then it also went into Mexico City and their indigenous traditions, South Asia and Hinduism, the interconnectedness between us, and then also the Persian community, Persia and South Asia as well too. By constantly highlighting the positivity, the interconnectedness, the empathy, you show compassion. You bring people together instead of constantly focusing on divisiveness. Because what
Yes.
I noticed also is that a lot of Hindu organizations is two different, it's two extremes. One is extremely political and they know nothing. All they do is talk about politics, which I know nothing about. I can tell you Tom Ford's new collection for next year, but I don't know who's in in the White House or whatnot. They focus on politics. Or the
Yes.
other extreme is that they focus constantly on protesting. Like going into a temple and yelling at elderly people, I don't find that correct. There's a better way of having dialogue with someone. So it's like, so for me it's been quite a journey, because for me I love temple worship and I love taking different people, different backgrounds into the temple to experience all this, because Hinduism is a faith that you experience with your heart and your mind more than just reading through a lot of books. Some people find great comfort in reading Bhagavad Gita, great comfort in reading different scriptures, but also experiencing it through music, through art, through design, through dance. Those are things that I feel food. Everyone likes food, right? Bringing people together. So for me, it's the core thing is highlighting what connects us more than what divides us. So,
Beautiful.
mhm,
I was wondering about there might be people, spiritual care providers on the call.
mhm.
They might have Hindu patients, Hindu students that they're working with. What type of advice would you give them? What type of insight would you give them as far as providing spiritual care? Honing in on the tradition and the use of art, the use of beauty in spiritual care. What would you share with them?
Stories, different Hindu stories. First of all, it's not mythology. Like I don't know why people call Hinduism mythology when stories really did happen. Ramayanam did happen. There's archaeological evidence of a land bridge between Sri Lanka and mainland India. The Ramayana did happen. When you tell stories about Lord Shiva, about Ganesha, about Parvati, about these different deities and how they've helped their devotees, it hones your relationship with the divine. And see, that's the beauty also of Hinduism, is that you can see the divine in any way you choose. You can see him as an all-powerful father, like Shiva. You can see him as a mother, goddess Parvati. You can see him as your friend, like goddess Saraswati, or your lover, Lord Krishna, or your sister, or your brother, or your best friend, or your child. That's the bottom line of Hinduism, is compassion and love. And so it's, yes, you turn on the news, you just going outside, it's a nightmare. It's like there is chaos everywhere you see in this world. Right now, according to Hindu scriptures, we're living in Kali Yuga, the age of destruction. Mankind will tear itself apart due to technology. Because look, everyone everyone is harping about mental care, mental health, right? Yet everyone is addicted to their phones.
Mm,
Everyone's scrolling nonstop on TikTok, on Instagram, on whatever it is, without having conversations with folks. Like, you have to look at someone in the eye and talk to them. And
yes.
so it's like, for me, it's like reading books, like actual books, like go to a bookstore and get a book and touching the paper and reading the scriptures, reading the stories of our different Hindu deities also gives me a lot of relief as well too. And like ancestral worship also. Like, I think there are a bunch of hospital chaplains also on this call as well too. I lost my father last year. And I was in the hospital with him from 2023. But he also passed on the holiest of holy days, January 14th, which is Makara Sankranti. But it's like, I believe in the interconnectedness, that he has reached moksha, that he's reached liberation. And because Hindu thought also varies, some people see heaven, hell, like heaven eating laddus with Ganesha, or like, or you can say that he's reached moksha and like, and what do you call it? Merged one with the divine. So,
Yes. Oh, wow.
but like the
Thank
more stories, the
Yeah.
more knowledge you share, the more likely you are to connect.
Okay.
So that's what I firmly believe. So even Bhagavad Gita, like, Lord, like many people study that scripture.
Mhm.
It's a conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, who's having I say midlife crisis, basically. You know what I mean? So it's like, mhm.
Yes,
Mhm.
it's so interesting you mentioned storytelling. We actually had somebody in the chat. For those who came in a little bit late, I did ask people to put in the chat the different art forms that you use in your spiritual care. So I invite you to do that. But we did have somebody in the chat that talked about doing photography, doing storytelling, using watercolor. So all of these ways, music, all of these ways we can connect with our care recipients, our staff, different communities. And I just, as we close out, one thing that I wanted to highlight about the work that you're doing, and oftentimes I think it might get missed in our work as spiritual care providers, is so of course we know that we're working individually with people, but the power of the work that you're doing is you're actually speaking to social issues and systemic issues as well, through your art. And sometimes I think as chaplains we feel like, okay, we can't talk about these larger issues that are impacting us, but I love the way in which your artwork is speaking to the tensions. It is addressing, how can we live interdependently, how can we make sure that everybody is seen as equal. And so I love that sense of, yes, we have these one-on-one relationships, we're hearing each other's stories, but we're also addressing systemic issues that are happening. And so I love that you're doing that with your artwork as well. And I think, all of us can learn from you that, yes, we have to create these relationships. We can use the power of art to do that and also address the social issues that are happening as well. And so I'm so grateful for you, Sangeetha. I am
Thank
just
you
so,
so much for
so,
having me.
yes.
Mhm.
Well, again, Sangeetha, thank you so much, for your wonderful presentation, for just engaging us. And I feel like I've learned a lot. I hopefully everybody in this community has learned so much. And so, I just want to again thank you all for joining us for this enriching and insightful presentation and conversation. If you would like to participate in more programs like this, we encourage you to visit our website at icjs.org. You can subscribe to our email list and learn about upcoming programs. And if you would like programs like this, we offer this free of cost. But if you would like to donate to ICJS, we again just encourage you to visit our website where you can subscribe and also donate to our organization. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you for our next Lunch and Learn, which is going to take place January 28th. And so we'll make sure that you get more information about that. Have a wonderful day.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate it.